Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AITA. In today's episode, AITA for ending my childcare agreement with my sister because I don't want to care for her future stepkids who I never met. AITA for implying to my coworker that I please myself when my husband is away. AITA for laughing when my wife's friend called her out and said she was better than her. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. AITA for ending my childcare agreement with my sister because I don't want to care for her future stepkids who I never met. I, 27F, am a stay-at-home mom to my two little boys ages 5 and 1. I also take care of my sister's two children ages 8 and 6 after school and during summer break. She sends snacks for all the kids and pays me a small amount of money. I never asked for a lot because it was never a big deal to me and I enjoy seeing my niece and nephew. But now things have changed. My sister is engaged and her future husband lives out of state with his two children. My sister already told me they were hoping I would take care of them. I asked when I would be meeting the kids and she said they fly in just before the wedding and I would start right away. I told her I would like to get to know the kids first and she said they want to start out on the right path with being a blended family and that means treating the kids the same. She said they want them to have that after school time together. I told her I understood, but I would not be comfortable taking care of the kids for extended periods of time when I do not know them and will have met them one or two times before they would be placed in my care and I would not be comfortable. My sister asked why I can't just embrace a big change and throw myself in. I told her if she was willing to give me some time to get to know the kids, she said no. So I told her firmly that she would need to find someone else to take care of the kids. My sister told me I was really showing that I only consider family those who are related by blood. But I would feel the same if my brother came back home after several years and asked me to watch his kids who I have never met and they're blood related. For me, it's just a position that requires a close, existing relationship for me to be okay with it. AITA though? NTA. My sister asked why I can't just embrace a big change and throw myself in. That's an unreasonable demand. Also, have you tried asking her why exactly she can't let you meet the kids first? Something smells funny about that. Sure, she's getting married, she's busy, and they're out of state, but she might be hiding something, too. Does one or both of the future husband's kids have difficult or extra care requirements? I'm getting a big feeling she's trying to push you into agreeing so it's harder for you to back out once you find out whatever she's hiding from you. What I'm guessing is one or both kids have big behavioral problems or big care needs that are demanding. Medical conditions, developmental problems, etc. Stuff like that can be really demanding and rough, and entitled people all follow the same trickster pattern when they intentionally conceal this and try to force someone to agree to dealing with it in advance, so if that person later tries to back out, they can play the "but you already agreed" card. If this happens, try and remember no matter what trick she falls back on, that she tried to manipulate you. If this isn't the case, then fine, but she's still being pretty unreasonable. NTA. Your sister is a my way or the highway person. The only way to re-educate those type of people is to show them the highway. Reiterate your stance, don't play her strawman games. You might want to get in front of the inevitable lies she'll tell family by proactively telling family members what really happened. Don't ask them for advice, tell them what went down. Perfect advice. My way or the highway doesn't work when you are wanting someone else to do something for you. She should be willing to allow you to get to know them and go from there. You were already doing her a favor. My partner has kids, and it took a while for me to get comfortable enough with them to be willing to watch them when she is gone. It's also better for the kids to have time to get to know you before they are just dropped off with a stranger. NTA. She should take a week off and watch all 6 kids just so she understands what she's asking of you. She's being ridiculous. But, how will she have time for her wedding and honeymoon if she's spending that time with the kids? /S. It's not even the watching them that's the main problem. The kids don't know each other. And instead on actually spending the time to blend the family, they're just going to drop all the responsibility on OP. So messed up in so many ways. NTA, taking care of 6 kids is a lot in general, but especially without knowing these kids' energy level, likes and dislikes, anything. I also think your sister is wrong on the kids' side as well. Wouldn't they be more comfortable with the new change if they knew the person they're spending significant time with first? NTA. Clearly your sister has taken advantage of you for some time now. You are saving her a fortune by caring for her kids rather than having them in daycare. I'm astounded by her assumption that you'd automatically take on 2 more kids. Her response to your perfectly reasonable request is quite shocking. It really shows her character. Personally, I'd let her 4 children get to bond together at some other babysitter or daycare. You can enjoy some quality time with your 2 children without the stress of having to care for 6 children. I really hope you stand your ground and not get pressured into caring for half a dozen kids. Good luck. Info. Am I reading this right? Sister's kids and stepkids have not met and will meet first time just before the wedding? Has she met future husband? Something here is way off. AITA for implying to my coworker that I please myself when my husband is away? I have been at this company for about 2 years now, and one of my coworkers, John, and I have become pretty good friends and get along well. We are both happily married and just friends, though we do catch up on life during work hours. My husband has been away on a business trip for 2 weeks now. John and I were chatting in the office this morning, and I mentioned to him that I've been at my house alone for the past week and pretty bored without my husband. He asked me what I do to pass the time and that I must be a bit pent up with my husband gone for that long. I was surprised he said that, but I feel comfortable enough around him that it didn't bother me, and I chalked it up to playful banter. I jokingly told him that I know exactly how to please myself when my husband is away. He got really awkward and uncomfortable, and we've been distant since. I just checked my inbox and there was a meeting on my calendar from HR. I tried to message John, but he's not responding, and my manager came by my desk and told me that my behavior is ridiculous and to not speak to John until I'm told otherwise. AITA? Update: I just got off my meeting with HR. I was able to convince everyone that it was just a misunderstanding and that I meant I can entertain myself while my husband is away. It's interesting though, John didn't bring up his comment in the HR complaint. I brought that up myself and he got scared and began to say that he meant it, that I must be bored in the house all alone with nothing to do. I let him have it. They won't be pursuing a formal investigation because they're chalking it up to a misunderstanding, but they are keeping everything on record in case anything happens again. They are moving John to a different team temporarily, and my manager apologized to me for being harsh with earlier. I will not be speaking to or interacting with John going forward. He asked me what I do to pass the time and that I must be a bit pent up with my husband gone for that long. And this man has the gall to complain about you? Wow. When he says, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way," you can say, "Well, clearly I didn't mean my comment the way your filthy mind took it. You know I love to cook. Of course I was talking about cooking and eating whatever I want without worrying whether husband will like it. It could work. Good luck. NTA. NTA. When you get to HR, be utterly confused. Yeah, I get to eat all the chocolate chip cookie dough by myself when my husband is gone. I don't even have to bake the cookies or clean up right away. I get to please myself and do what I want. I'm sorry, is there a problem? How the F***ck are people blaming OP when the guy literally asked her if she's pent up when the husband is away? Are you people for real? NTA. On the face of it, I'd say NTA. It sounds like you misunderstood what "a bit pent up" meant. If I'm pretty good friends with someone, I might feel comfortable making such a joke. I suppose the only thing you could have done was apologize once he became awkward, that might have cleared the air at the time. Too late now. I'd write down exactly what you recall from the conversation. Might be helpful for you as you prepare to meet with HR. AITA for laughing when my wife's friend called her out and said she was better than her. I married my wife 9 years ago. As a longtime browser on this sub, I know a lot of you may ask if I actually like my wife or why I married her. There's a lot of reasons. I won't put you guys to sleep though. The simple answer is I do love my wife, we share a son together and I could not imagine a life without her. My only wish is she wasn't so insecure, but she is also human. With that said, let's get started. My wife is 39 and struggles a lot with insecurity. To remedy this, she has surrounded herself with friends who truthfully she thinks lesser of. A lot of her friends have been out of shape, poor, mentally unstable and such, and my wife has admitted she feels like the stable and sensible one with all of them. When she's not talking about them like they're charity cases, she's usually insulting them. Before it's asked, my wife is in therapy and says she likes the therapist but doesn't think she's truly the issue. Now her youngest friend, 31, Candy, was one of the many friends my wife used for her own security. Candy was sort of a mess as a teenager, barely passed high school, couldn't hold down a job and was in and out of hospitals due to unmedicated mental health problems. I think my wife was probably the cruelest to her out of all her friends because Candy never really stood up for herself. At some point we didn't really understand how or what came over her, but Candy really did a 180, got medicated, got her degree and now is living in a nice country house, with a well-paying job, her husband and 3 kids. Watching Candy change over the years has messed with my wife a lot. She's been crueler to her and constantly insults her house, her job, even how she raises her kids, and loves to mention all the mistakes Candy made when she was young. Candy never said anything until yesterday. We were at her house around a fire and my wife asked how Candy could even be a fit mom after all her mental health problems, and Candy, who is tippy, looks at my wife and says, paraphrasing, "Of course, you know, when I was young, I took your words to heart, until I learned you were just as messed up as me. And I realized to fully get back at all the ways you hurt me, there wasn't a point in telling you or asking for an apology, it was simply by being better than you. And now I am." Now I laughed, not so much out of humor but more shock. I got a death glare followed by my wife abruptly walking to the car and a threatening text she'd leave me behind if I didn't follow. We drove home in silence. When we got back my wife was crying in the bedroom. When I tried to comfort her she chucked all my stuff in my direction and screamed to leave. I now write this at my parents who don't think I'm wrong, but at the same time they don't like my wife. AITA? Emma, join your parents here. You are NTA, but your wife is extremely messed up, and you might give some thought to taking your son and leaving before she messes him up. You are so close to her that you may not even have a good view of how being with a person like her changes your brain and your sense of reality and right and wrong. See a therapist for yourself. My mother was like her, and I'm looking at my stepfather after their 30+ years together. He's a husk of the man he used to be. He had to essentially toss out his own mind and replace it with hers, because it was the only way to avoid her cruelty and abuse and survive next to her. Info. I know you thought everyone would ask if you even like your wife. I, however, have a different question. After writing out how your wife has treated Candy and all of her other friends for years, why do you like your wife? One of the few times where not loving your ex is absolutely acceptable and warranted. OP sounds like he married a narcissist. As others in this thread have pointed out, she's basically the textbook example. I don't need a DSMV in front of me to figure that one out. YTA for making excuses for your loathsome sounding wife. You basically said, my wife preys on vulnerable people to bully and abuse, to feed her voracious ego. Poor whittle baby. Like, you sat there watching your wife bully a mentally ill young person and didn't think you should do anything about that? I married my wife 9 years ago. As a longtime browser on this sub, I know a lot of you may ask if I actually like my wife or why I married her. There's a lot of reasons. I won't put you guys to sleep though. Info, try us, buddy, I don't think this one is gonna put AITA to sleep. Has it crossed your mind why your wife selected you, considering how she selected her friends? I suspect there's a lot more going on here than you're letting on, because I have a hard time believing she hasn't pulled similar crap on you ever. Good luck, dude. YTA if you don't save your son from her. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.